I love you. Now turn off the Alexa and go to sleep. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 253, November 7th, 2019. On tonight's episode, guess what? Overwatch 2 is coming to Nintendo Switch. A Pokemon leaker got caught. Can you catch them all? Who knows? Nintendo has just announced a super weird ambulance game, as well as some amazing Black Friday deals. Terry Bogard hits Smash, and a special guest that requires no introduction. Jesse, cue the music. Hey folks, what is going on? Welcome to episode 253. I didn't know whether you were doing it, Marty, or I was, and I was like, I don't know if he's falling asleep, if he's pulling his energy back, but we are here. I'm going to throw it over to Marty because it looks like he's in the hosting chair ready to go, and he is still pumped from Extra Life. Marty, what's going on? Uh-oh. You're muted, Marty. You're killing me here, son.
No. We're all a little off balance here tonight, right? It seems like it. My internet was crap before I came on here. I can't figure out how to unmute my mic. We had to stop the stream during Extra Life halfway through the first hour in a 2-hour block. So it's all just coming up roses, right? It's just all coming up roses. So fantastic stuff.
But we have got a bunch of roses on the show with us. Of course, the rose who right now, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't follow us right now on YouTube or Twitch, you're doing yourself a disservice, because this man has got himself a haircut and a shave, and I'm going to say on this podcast, he's ranked the number 3rd sexiest man on this podcast. Jesse Waldak,
it's
what
the
is
median.
going on, buddy?
3 out of 5. That's the median. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you who 4 or 5 are, right? Just know that you're in the middle. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. Yeah, we're doing my work's doing a no shave November, so I got trimmed up on October 31st. Went into the office on the 1st to get before pictures.
Yep.
And then we'll come back the first week in December for after pictures, and then people will vote on who they thought had the best growth in that month.
The best growth in that month. I'm sure that does not sound odd at all. Speaking of a man who's already working on his November beard, Mr. Timothy Alf. Tim, how are you today, sir?
I had a rough start today, but I'm back on track because I'm on the show, so I'm feeling good.
I love you're concise, simple, yep, here's how it is. Wasn't good, but we're doing well, and I'm happy to be here. I love it. Thank you, Tim. Also loving the new Challenger approaching shirt, perhaps symbolizing his journey on to being a full-time host as well. He is indeed our new Challenger. Speaking of a man who's not new, been here a couple times, and of course, my brethren to the Great White North, Mr. Sean Capri. Sean, how are you today, buddy?
I'm great, man. It's me, Sean Capri. Thank you guys for having me on, man. As I wrap up my, northeastern tour of the United States, flying out of Philly tomorrow morning. So I'm in my hotel room. I've had no kids for a week, so I'm all rested, crazy. Ready for this marathon podcast you guys do every week.
Then that was exactly it. You said, hey, if I'm going on your show, I need to take an entire week off of everything I need do. Yeah, prep for this mentally and prepare.
Yeah, there's a mental preparation process for this.
I've done all 12 steps, Marty. Seriously, I've had my nap.
Okay,
I've got my Red Bull here. Yep. Eventually, I'm going to go out for a coffee mid-show. So I'm set, man. You're not going to have a guru falling asleep in the middle of the show here. I'm prepared.
Good, excellent.
I know what I'm in for.
Obviously, Sean, we obviously spend time later in the show to talk about obviously the amazing things you do with the Xbox Drive and If We Ran Nintendo. But let's talk about maybe why you are in the northeast of the United States for last week. What's going on?
Yeah, man, we had Extra Life last weekend, so myself and about 60 other people were all crammed in a big room in a college in Rome, New York, for Extra Life. And we did the 25-hour stream with the daylight savings. And I swear to God, guys, it was one of the most transformational experiences I've ever had in video games. Just meeting all of the friends that normally we just this is how we interact on Skype and everything, and through the power of Twitter and all that. And then to meet everybody in person, Lee Navarro from Phoenix Overdrive, Mr. Babbitt, Garrett Bland, Skinny Matt, so many. Bobby was also there. All of us all in the same room playing games, it was an adult sleepover. It was the best party ever. so we raised the offline totals are still kind of coming in. So Phoenix Overdrive hit around $10,000.
Wow.
So just like
That's awesome.
incredible time. Lots of money raised for the kids. Lots of games played. Lots of meeting new friends along the way, and it's actually a little bit surreal. Like that was all the way last week, and just I have to look at the pictures to remind myself that was a thing that we really did. We pulled it off, man. It was really amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome, and kind of obviously being friends and connected with you and a lot of those content creators as well, having the opportunity to watch you guys from afar and being very honest, being jealous of it as well, because it just looked like an absolutely amazing time. So congratulations to you, and congratulations to everyone who supported that. Of course, Extra Life continues to run for the month of November as well. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Marty Estes is currently in his Extra Life campaign right now. So if you're joining us live on YouTube or on Twitch and you're like, hey, I have some extra money to give away, then definitely go over to our Extra Life page, or any Extra Life page, but ours specifically, and donate, because we have some goals we'd like to meet as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk any more about that, Marty, or is it just
well, no, I mean, we're $830 of the way to the $2,000 goal that I set this year, and so a huge $500 donation coming in about a week ago kind of got that ball rolling, and so there's been $330 more donated since then. I would love it if by the end of this show we were knocking on the door of 1,000, just so that we roll into the next day, ready to go. Tomorrow's going to be a lot of fun. We've scheduled tomorrow to be more family related. So at 8:00 in the morning, my son Isaac is going to take over the stream for 2 hours to play Minecraft.
Sure.
And I can't be held responsible for what's going to happen there because I'm going to be asleep.
Right.
I'm actually going to push back in the recliner there and go to sleep. And he's psyched up about this, y'all. And then tomorrow afternoon, after lunch, my wife and my daughter are coming to basically be here when it's time to stretcher me out after 24 hours. But also they're coming to play some family games. So we're going to do Super Mario Party, and we're going to do Mario and Sonic at the 2020 Olympics, which we got a review code for this week from Sega. And here, the cool thing about it is I downloaded it, but I've not even opened it once. So we're all going into it blind.
That's great.
So
Awesome.
we're gonna do that. We're gonna play some other games like just little party games, family games, stuff like that. And then right after our stream ends at 6:00, Jesse's gonna hop in and do some Jackbox tomorrow night as well. And so I don't want to leave him out. But like I said, you can go over and you can donate toward that goal. It's extra-life.org/participant/Marty Estes. But also be aware that our good friend Nick Metzger is doing his right now as well. And he is his is participant/youth for youth with the number 4. And he has like 40 teenagers from his surrounding area there from different groups, and they're all taking shifts playing.
That's awesome.
Which I think is super cool.
That is cool.
Concept, and I think it raises awareness not only for Extra Life, but what that is going for those kids seeing they're working to collect it. So good stuff on our goal is $4,000, and so we'd love to hit that. But just head on over there. You can even just go to Extra Life, just Google it, and then search on that page. Search Nintendo Dads or search Marty Estes, and you'll find me.
Two other things that I'll just bring quickly attention to there is if you're around 2 p.m. Central Standard Time,
oh God,
ladies and gentlemen, round two of Dr. Mario, where my wife, Jody Masson, the redhead from the north, the fiercest competitor of Dr. Mario, takes on Mr. Marty Estes. For every single minute that Marty plays with my wife, she's going to donate $1. If he actually wins a match, he's getting extra bonus dollars. But ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see a mid-40-year-old man cry for an hour, tune in at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time when Jody Masson goes round to round in Dr. Mario.
He says this, and you're like, oh, that's all hype because that's Justin. No. Like, okay, Justin, let's throw this out here. How many of you guys in your household enjoy playing Dr. Mario with Jody?
I have to play on level 3, and she plays on level 20. And only
Yeah,
then is
she
it
was-
slightly fun. And she
Like,
still
she
beats
was
me.
doing stuff last year, like before I could even drop drop one virus. She was like dumping garbage and all kinds, and I was like, I've never seen anything like this.
She's the
it was
1995 Southern Alberta Dr. Mario champion.
That's amazing because my wife is a 1996 Northern Alberta champion.
I think we should have a
I-
wife show off.
I think
Oh
we
my
honestly
goodness.
Chelsea's actually amazing at this game.
Oh
So
no,
the-
so's
the-
my wife. Oh,
We're the
wow.
same person, Justin.
We are. I'm just the fatter version of you.
Oh my god! My brother's name is Justin.
No way.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh!
We need to.
But yeah,
we need to make something of
she's
this.
We need to.
she's going to utterly destroy me. So, I mean, just tune in just for the shared misery.
It'll be
Yep.
kind of like what we did with Mega Dads with
Exactly.
with
Oh,
Splatoon.
yeah. Speaking of Megadad Splatoon, and also awkwardly maybe getting suspended, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of years ago, Marty was in Extra Life, and we set some goals, and we said, hey, if during this stream we get to X amount of dollars, I'll take my shirt off. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're back for 2 years later. If we can get Marty to $1,000, this nice button-down T-shirt, it's coming off. It's coming off on this stream. So let's see if
Maple
we can get
syrup
Marty to
mousse is
$1,000. Maple syrup mooses,
unleashed.
and it'll just be nips all over the podcast. You know what I'm saying? And then we're probably going to get suspended in Twitch.
I think that's a good idea.
Sean's video had been off the entire time you were saying that, and about the time you said nips all over the podcast, he showed up again with the most disproving look. I love it.
Joyful
But hey, look,
disapproval.
Sean,
Yeah.
Sean, it's for the kids.
It is
Yeah, it's
for
all
the
for the kids. I will say though, if for those of you that aren't aware of
Oh,
what
man.
did happen, we did play the Mega Dads at the Extra Life Splatoon Fest this weekend. Thanks for everyone who, by the way, who jumped in and actually was on our team, played on it, which was fantastic. We of course destroyed the Mega Dads very quickly, but the Mega Dads had set a goal that they'd play in their swimsuits, and that's exactly what they did. However, halfway through our stream, they actually got suspended by Mixer, and the reason they got suspended from Mixer was inappropriate nudity on the actual stream, which was because they had their shirts off. Like, if there's anything that is quintessential Megadad's content, that is exactly it. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
If it's you though, it's appropriate nudity. It's fine.
Oh, for sure.
For them, it was inappropriate nudity.
It's artistic,
That's why he's blurred his background there.
right?
It's French.
artistic.
My daughter wanted to jump in, but she did not want to be on stream. And I'm like, if you're sitting in this chair, your voice and your face is on it. She goes, nope.
Yeah.
I said,
That's it.
okay. Then
Yeah.
that's your choice. So
Yeah, good call.
Well, let's
Well,
jump.
I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say, we've prattled on enough about ourselves, right?
Sure. Let's jump in. Hey, Tim, quick question. Cat Janitor asks, what's in your fancy glass there? Timothy? What are you pouring?
I had Canadian maple whiskey to start, and now I just have Pepsi. So to kind of
Man, that's
Wow, look at you go. Well done, you.
on the Pepsi side. too.
Speaking of people who probably need a whiskey after their conference, Blizzard announced Overwatch 2 coming to Nintendo Switch this last week. Folks, anyone excited about Blizzard's Overwatch 2 coming to Switch?
Are we allowed to be excited? Like, I'm not sure if are we allowed or is
That's
that,
tough, right?
is
Because
that
a lot
hate
of people are
crime?
like, "Are we okay to do this?" Like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna be.
I'm excited.
I'm gonna be excited. Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's great.
I'm excited.
Um,
I think it's
everyone
awesome.
is okay,
My
and you're
kids are
all. I'm
excited.
gonna shame you all publicly. Bad, you
Okay.
guys for being excited about that.
sorry.
But no, it's okay. We don't know much about it. I was shocked actually that it was coming to the Switch. Now, Diablo 4 was also announced during BlizzCon, not at this point coming to the Nintendo Switch, but just Overwatch 2. Do you guys understand? Are we actually getting a sequel, or is this some weird upgrade to the actual current game? Because I was a little bit confused at times.
It looks like a sequel to me. I mean, with it being primarily online matchmaking and PvP and stuff like that, I think there's going to be the inevitable. It's just an upgrade, but it's the same thing that people said about Splatoon 2, right? When it came, and it did have improvements and a
Smash.
whole lot. more content over the first one. And so they've already revealed one new character and a new mode. And there's actually going to be story-based modes for the characters as well, which I think is brilliant because they've managed to do something special with Overwatch, and that is build an entire universe around characters who, if you've never seen the like the little movies,
vignettes?
I guess, that Blizzard puts out, the vignettes, then you have no clue what all that is, right? Mm-hmm. But for some reason, they have this universe that fans have become incredibly loyal to.
Yeah.
And so I did think it was interesting in that trailer that they showed off that action sequence against the gigantic Omnic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's coincidence. I think there's going to be something like that as well in this game.
I think there's story missions as well, isn't there? So it seems to me that there's a different take on the entire game. I think these games of service, the multiplayer, the games that live forever, have a real challenge in differentiating when it's a sequel. I think Destiny did that, had a similar challenge. Splatoon, as you guys mentioned as well. But this seems to me like a pretty big deal. And there's this notion that you only get attached to the characters if you play the game or if you follow along. I don't know, man. Like, I watched that trailer and I don't follow along with the behind the scenes stuff or the lore or anything. I'm getting a little choked up. There's like this. Yeah. Is there going to be a sacrifice here? Like this big cuddly gorilla? Like I just love Winston, but I don't know anything about him. I don't know that he has led this group of Overwatch characters. I don't know that he's kind of like the Sam Jackson of the Avengers kind of thing. Yeah. But I found, I don't know if I was just tired from Extra Life or whatever, but I was like getting a little choked up from it.
No, so I did too. It was the music. It was the music and the Blizzard has always done CGI cinematics so well.
Yeah, you're
always.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're top shelf.
I have no interest in the game, but I like that cinematic, and I would not mind seeing like a full-blown movie based with that art style.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that you know what that feels? That feels like it is right for a Netflix miniseries. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like a 7-part, 45-minute episode Overwatch season 1. Whatever it is, right? Like that feels like it's
I'd
a
take
low-hanging fruit. Yeah,
for sure.
Yep. Cat Janitor here says in the chat here, Overwatch 1 and 2 players can play online together, right? So I think that's a nice feature as well.
Crazy.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, and think about I think one of the things too to point out here is that with Overwatch 2 is that the first one had such a long tail on it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, 3.5 years of upgrades and characters and new maps and new modes and surprises and costumes and skins or whatever you want to call them. There's so much content to that game. I don't expect Overwatch 2 to be any different. There's going to be all kinds of brand new reveals, and I feel like we'll probably see all of the original characters that are out right now eventually. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that they will be like. I think they're going to mix them in. It's like, oh, here's 6 and 6, right? Or here's 8 and 4. Oldies and 4 newbies, and then your other folks will come down. But I mean, it's obvious that they're picking on the popular ones right here at the beginning, right? I mean, May, Tracer, Mercy, Reinhardt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they've already showed off Lucio in the art, so he's in there. And then there's the new character, and is it Sojourn or Sojourner?
I think so.
That's the new one.
Justin.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
Wobble Puff.
Awesome.
Pikachu.
Well, so how does that work? Like, we're heading into next generation of consoles now. Like that almost like cross game, cross gen, even PS3, 4 and 5.
That's I guess a little bit of the question I have, and the reason I asked this question is like, and I fully like. I believe it's a new game. My understanding, it's a new game. I've watched the release, but like I also thought, what if it's just an update?
Yeah.
What if it's literally like you want to update to Overwatch 2, take your Overwatch 1 game and pay $30, and we'll update to Overwatch 2. By the way, all the characters remain the same because they said the same characters to stay in. You get the same skins, you get the same maps, but all of a sudden now it's Layer 2, it's new maps. It's almost like an extension. It's almost like it's DLCing itself into a new game.
I've been thinking about how the Overwatch 1 and 2 players can play together, and that's basically how it has to be.
Yeah.
Overwatch 1 gets a big patch to get Overwatch 2 content that they probably won't be able to access outside of multiplayer games.
Yeah.
Like they'll have the models of the new characters, just won't be able to play as them or something like that. And same with the new maps. But and then Overwatch 2 will basically have both games basically will be the same thing, just with Overwatch 1 having limited access to some content.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I think that, because I don't know about you guys all, but like when I heard them say, "Oh, by the way, it's coming to the Nintendo Switch," I was like, "Shut up!" What? Like, and to your point a little bit there, Sean, like, how is this going to happen with new generation of consoles? Well, if you've already got, let's think about it. If you foundationally got the building blocks of the game already on the one console, the Switch, and you're just doing an update or a DLC patch, right? And that expands it. You're not really building a whole new game from the ground up. You're just building, you've got a house, you're putting an extension on it.
That's a good analogy. I feel like I just did that with Tetris 99 actually, but it was starting with the free game, but then adding on, like, to me it's like it's a completely different experience what I just added on with that offline DLC pack.
Yeah. I've been doing some Googling while you guys have been discussing it.
Multitasker.
And there's an article from Tech Radar that talks about, the reveal, and it says here, and this is the heading, new engine upgrades. It doesn't say a new engine for the game, but new engine upgrades that support larger maps for co-op, as well as new enemies and factions that players will encounter, and so visual enhancements. And so I think y'all may be onto something. This may be like a upgrade pack, but they didn't want to call it Overwatch DLC because there's been so much, right?
How can you be Game of the Year if you're just an upgrade patch? Remember, this was 2015, I think. 2015 Game of the Year, 2016 Video Game Awards Game of the Year. And also, all of this is really good news for Nintendo Switch players because we just bought the game. Yeah. And so for them to come out and announce this, so the fact that the games all work together, like, this seems to be, I'm just so encouraged by all the crossplay, all the player first stuff, like just the things that we've really, the last couple of years, the last decades, everything that we've really known to come in buying games. Think about Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter 2 Championship. Those are all, they should have been like this, but we bought separate cards for them. Like we paid full price every time.
Yeah, and to add fuel to the fire, I think, I'm just still reading this, that all cosmetic items from the original Overwatch will cross over to 2.
Amazing.
So, but one of the big focuses, again, we talked about the narrative focus, but this has come out too, that there is a huge push for co-op in this game, in that you'll have co-op missions, as well as the story missions being able to be played co-op as well.
Right.
Then when it comes to the other consoles, we already know PS5 will be backwards compatible with 4. We already know Project, what do they call it?
Scarlet.
Yeah.
Listen, Xbox kid, you stay in your corner, all right?
You almost said Scorpio. Yes, I'm sorry. Okay.
Will be compatible with Xbox One, and even within their own ecosystems, they are able to have, here's a game, but if you have the Pro or the X, you can use this alternate texture pack to take advantage of the 4K or the higher density resolutions. And so because of this, you don't even need to make an Xbox 5 or an Xbox 5, an Xbox 2 or a PS5 build, because it'll just play the old build, but it could have that ability to then use modified texture packs for the higher resolutions.
And I think
it'll still all be compatible with everything.
One of the things I would use as an example of how this could work, and it's a light example, but is really Fortnite Chapter 2.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if this is Overwatch Chapter 2, right? They took everything offline, and when you came back online, you kept your skins, right? You kept your emotes, you kept all those things. But by the way, there's a completely new world. There's new maps. Now, it's not the exact same, but that's my envisioning of it, right?
Yeah.
When we look at a game,
just the difference is you have to pay for the upgrade instead of.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? Because they're investing a lot more into it, right? But all of a sudden you build. So that's, when we think of Overwatch 2, that's where my brain goes to. And how these games, whether it's a Destiny, whether it's Overwatch, whether it's Fortnite, whether it's, I don't know, Apex, whatever, how they can evolve into being these bigger games as a service. kind of franchises. I think it's interesting to continue to think about as well.
It's the only way so that you don't just drop off your entire base. You spend all the time and money just cultivating this community, and you can't go, well, you have to buy the next one to carry over. Like, I think that this might be, aside from Fortnite, this might be the only paid, well, Fortnite's not paid. This might be the only paid game they're doing that, because Destiny certainly did not do that. They require everybody to buy and jump into the next one. Yeah. So it just leaves nobody behind, and I love that part of where gaming is going.
Yeah, absolutely.
This sells me too for the fact when they mentioned that on the stage that all the Overwatch 1 stuff will carry over to 2. I was like, I'm sold. I'm ready.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is exactly it, right? I think that's brilliant. So, yeah, I think it's great. It'll be interesting to see how that continues. Anyone who plays Overwatch, who are you maining as? Who do you main as?
I love Mercy.
Mercy, okay.
I do Reinhardt.
Reinhardt,
with a side of Lucio.
Nice, cool. Tim, what about you?
Reaper.
Reaper, yeah. Jesse, you have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
I pass.
Pass, cool, awesome. I'm a big fan of Hamster. And
yeah, that one is fun.
Bastion, or not Bastion, Baston, the
robot, right?
Robot, yeah. Yeah, I like
Bastion,
yeah, Bastion.
Yeah, that's what Chelsea plays.
Blow up. All right, speaking of things that kind of blow up and occasionally you don't want to get caught, ladies and gentlemen, there has been some leaks as of late on Pokemon Sword and Shield. Hopefully you've been able to avoid all the leaks, because we are just 1 week away from Pokemon Sword and Shield.
And we're going to talk about it right now. No.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. Way to avoid it until now. But unfortunately, as we found out via Twitter, there were some photos that were leaked, and so that happened. But apparently, Nintendo has found the leaker, and it was caught by actually their profile picture on Discord chat, and then Nintendo employees actually traced the source behind the profile picture and identified their YouTube channel, which then they were able to later identify their Facebook account, and then their Facebook account was then able to provide information to find the way to the actual leaker. So the leaker eventually got caught, and this is not a good thing. This is not a good thing for, you get early access or you get instant access to something. And I highly doubt this was an influencer or someone from media, but rather someone who probably just happened to know a man who knows a guy who's shady and gets a copy of it. And now this person could probably face very real fines and jail time potentially for leaking this information. Folks, what do we think?
Well, I mean, not only that, I read somewhere on Twitter today that many people who have requested review copies of Pokemon Sword and Shield are now getting emails that say they will not get them until release date.
Mm-hmm.
This is Mario and Luigi Bowser's inside story all over again, or whichever one got ripped, and put on the internet. It's the exact same situation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will have to say that as someone who has viewed all of the delicious Pokemon leaks, all I can say is this. It turned me from I'm playing this game because I need to talk about it on the show to I can't wait to get this game in my Switch.
Wow.
Mm. All
I'm going to say is this. All they revealed was Pokemon designs.
Yeah.
Like, really. There wasn't a whole lot of story or anything revealed. Just Pokemon designs made me that excited.
I want to make my own Pokemon. I want to make a little Justin Pokemon. Little Zach Pokemon. Yeah.
There you go.
Pokemon creator.
Pokemon World creator. I like it.
If I ran Nintendo, that's what I would do.
Yeah, if you ran with Moose, can I have Moose horns?
Oh, that would be amazing. Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. This is a whole different conversation.
And dripping maple syrup in your mouth.
Yeah, we're going to Vancouver Island, everybody, in the next part.
Hey,
right?
And he's got the name already. You ready? Moosin.
Moosin. Oh my God!
Mm-hmm.
I'm going home. I'm done. Yeah, I mean, I think that
Let the fan art commence.
Right? Yeah. If you want to submit your image of Justin Moosin to Nintendo Dads, nintendodads@gmail.com. Your artwork will be featured on all of our social media pages.
Why do I feel like this is going to end up as a T-shirt?
Free publicity, and it may absolutely be done as a T-shirt.
I've got a long flight tomorrow. I'm gonna be sketching away, man.
I want to see that Pokemon.
Do it.
Who's that Pokemon?
Justin Moosin.
Oh my God! Seriously,
Glasses and antlers.
please.
And you gotta have the
please.
region too. What region is that?
Oh, what region? Oh, that's definitely. I don't know what region. How would you call Canada as a region? Northwest? I don't know. I don't know.
The poutine region.
The Poutinery region? Oh, jeez, now you're just getting belligerent.
The Putina region.
Right.
There you go.
So pulling this back, Pokemon leaks not good. Hopefully you've been able to avoid it. I think in a world where we're so interconnected, it's just they're going to find you, right? And it's such a big risk. And I think to the point that I guess Marty you made as well is like you're ruining it for other people as well, right? Which is unfortunate. So, Sean, you picking up Pokemon?
The chat says
I don't-
Gujan reason.
Gujan, Newfoundland, nice.
Definitely Newfoundland and Labrador as well. I don't know, man. I'm going back and forth on that. I might just pick up the Switch altogether. The Switch Lite, the special edition is gorgeous, and that alone has me maybe the reason that I end up picking this thing up. But I'm just glad that you see these leaks all the time, and I think as fans, like for me, I hate spoilers. I want to go on the journey on my own. I want these things to kind of be laid out in the way that they're intended, and I hate when things get spoiled like this. And so, as a video game fan, I'm just glad that this person did get caught, and that potentially the hammer is getting laid down. I think they're like an example should be set in a big bad way. Nintendo could have just called the SWAT team and just called them on this YouTuber or whoever it is, But I think they pulled back just a little bit. But I'll be very interested to see like what does real consequences really mean.
Right,
like
because
you guys know as reviewers, like you could be blacklisted. I think that's one thing, but like it doesn't necessarily cost you anything other than like further access. But is this going to cost them time or money?
So I would say this.
The question is, what was done? Was it really illegal, immoral? Definitely, but illegal?
Right. That's good.
Don't know.
That's a good point.
And that's a great question. So like full transparency. So I'll talk to you. I'll provide like our insight from the Nintendo Dad's perspective. So when we have worked with specific organizations, and Nintendo's one of them, when we came on board with them, and Sean, maybe you did with Microsoft, we had to sign like a 5-page letter, a legal document from Nintendo.
No, we just high-fived.
Yeah, you guys that's exact. Well, Xbox.
We're friends
Xbox
now, eh?
Position,
Xbox Canada.
Xbox is in a position they're just looking for anybody to high five. Like, come on, guys, anybody?
That was a little opportunistic for me, I'd say. But yeah, you're right.
It really was. So it's fine. We're going to talk about later how we have a new show called the Xbox Dads. But what I was saying though is like, so we had to like sign an agreement as a company, as what we are, right? And signing that actual contract holds us accountable. And if for some odd reason we decide to be taken to court, they have ability to do that. Now, joke's on you. We don't have a lot, but you could definitely, we as individuals could be impacted by I signed the document, so I could be the one impacted, right? So there are definite impacts to when you work with companies and organizations. Now, if this person just happened to get a copy of it from your man down at the local shop who decided to give it to him early, and we see this happen a lot on when street dates get broken, right? The person at Target didn't realize that the game wasn't supposed to go out till Friday, released a day early. We see it happen. But when a game is this far out, it's very blatant actionable. Do you know what I mean? Like someone had to take actions to get there. I think
one of the things that has baffled me about the whole situation though is that like with all of the news that came out and the massive amount of Pokemon that were revealed, like why is Nintendo waited this late in the game? Or why is Game Freak waited this late in the game, or the Pokemon Company or whoever, like sitting on stuff that to a casual Pokemon fan is legitimately exciting, right? When you've had so much negative press, and maybe that's why they have, but I just feel like, especially even being around during the X and Y era and being around during Sun and Moon, like we knew way more about the games at this stage before release than we do about Sword and Shield.
And I think they were deeply criticized for that because there was nothing. Everything was on the table. Nothing was so a surprise anymore, and I think they're rolling back on that. And I think for the good, because I've seen a few of the leaks. I haven't seen all of them. I'm trying to avoid them. I don't know what the evolutions look like of the starters, etc. And and I think I said it 2 weeks on the last show 2 weeks ago that if they haven't told us by now, don't tell us. Just
Well, and
let us find out on our own.
and that's a little bit of it, right? And I think that with so many, just in general, we live in a society that leaks are abound for movie sets or pictures of this and that I think as a development team, right, or as anyone who spends a lot of time on a project, right, and you're spending a lot of time and energy, and we're not talking like 5 people around a laptop, like we're talking a team across the world who has spent time and energy to create the crafting this art for you, and they want to deliver
model.
Right, they want to deliver it on their terms and in their ways, and kind of have everyone kind of surprised together, right? Join in that like global conversation of like posting photos and then share. And I think a leak like this kind of just like numbs some of that, right? And I read a post recently today that someone was saying like the Pokemon company right now is actually tracking at very low morale, right? And you're thinking a company like this is tracking low morale just before the release of a huge game, probably because a lot of the wind is taken out of their sails, right? Because of leaks like this. So, Tim, what do you think?
I'm surprised it got leaked, but because Nintendo's usually known for keeping things tight. So when this came out, I thought it was fake, but I still didn't want to go look. Even though I'm not, say, a huge fan like Jesse or anybody else, where I would be hungry for this information, I still don't want to know about it. I want to learn about it on my own.
Yeah.
So
I figured the leaks were legit off the bat, just because what happened 2 days before that leak hit? Pre-purchases.
Yeah.
And when you pre-purchase, you download the build of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that to add to what you were talking about, Justin, about the thing you had to sign and all that, for us, especially you, when you came back and when I was helping you with the thumbnail and you said, no, I can't use that image. I don't feel comfortable using that image. Yeah. Even though I got it from Nintendo's webpage, you were still leery about using it. So for us, we're very, we don't want to risk anything. So we're going to dot those I's, cross those T's, and make sure before we do anything. So what it comes down to is it comes back to this person who did this and again ruins it for everybody else like us, who I was thankful that you got that review code for Luigi's Mansion early. I was surprised we got that early when you said you got it, because usually we haven't been getting anything from Nintendo early. And then it goes back to people like this doing stuff like this that shuts Nintendo back down to say you're not getting a review code early.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that frustrates me most.
Yeah, and I'll be 100% candid. And someone already mentioned this conversation. We've been in contact with our Nintendo rep, and our Nintendo rep has blatantly said to us, if we're able to give you a code, it will be like on launch date. On launch date or a date before. And they recognize that as reviewers, as influencers, or whatever the hell it is you want to call it is that we do here, right, as just 5 guys yapping, that doesn't give us a lot of time for our audience, right? But they don't want to risk that component of it. What Tim was talking about before with the thumbnail there is embargoes. And Sean, you've probably dealt with embargoes with Xbox Canada, right? And they can be very convoluted.
Yeah.
Right. You can have preview embargoes and review embargoes. And so what Tim was talking about was like our preview embargo as it related to Luigi's Mansion said you can't show X scenes, but you can show up to this level, but you can't show pictures or videos from that level. And okay, sure, that's fine. But then what we were doing is we were putting together a preview video we were putting up, and Tim was so kind as to go do the thumbnail, but he pulled the thumbnail image, which was off of Nintendo's public site, press site, from a level that was beyond the preview embargo.
Yeah.
So I was only allowed to show, I think, to level 9 in the preview embargo, but the level that he was pulling from was like level 11. So technically, that's breaking embargo. So we have to redo those things, right?
They're testing you.
It is, right? So there's a lot. There's a lot of like T's and I's, and I don't know if there's anything that you've dealt with too, Sean, from your experience.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that I've seen actually, which is really confusing, is that it can be fluid. Like it can change after you get that initial email of like, this is what you can say, this is what you can't say, and then the next day I'll be like, okay, well, actually, there's a streaming update. You can play the game, but only to this point. So the fluidity, I think, can catch you off guard a little bit. And I think that it is our responsibility to just stay up to date. And it's always a two-way conversation with whoever your rep is to make sure that you understand. If you're ever in doubt, ask the question. And I've yet to had anybody go, I can't believe you didn't understand what it is. It's generally, yep. It is convoluted. Thank you for clarifying, and then you move on from there. But this is obviously not that. This leak is obviously not somebody mixing up an embargo detail or anything like that. It's just it was totally intentional. I think that's probably the worst part about it is there can be mistakes. Everybody's human, and they are confusing, and those types of things can happen. This is not that, and it ruins the people who are as dedicated as you, and I think I am as well, to the details of the embargoes.
Yeah.
You know what I hate about it too is that like. The whole thing about it is that one bad apple spoils the bunch, right? Like like one thing like this happens, and then you have people like us who, and by us I mean not just Nintendo dads. I'm talking about you and other podcasters collectively. We're not the IGNs or the GameSpots or whatever, and we are the ones who suffer because of it, right? And I think what people forget is that if we do this, and yes, podcasting for us, I mean, we take what we do seriously, but again, it's just a hobby. And so what I try to remind myself when Justin gets in a code or when I ask him and he's like, hey, yeah, we got a code for that since you asked. Number one is due diligence with what you've been given. And number two, it's a privilege. It's not a right. It's a privilege to be able to play something before other people or get a free copy of it and provide your opinions, which then influence people as to whether or not they'll buy that game or not. And it's not a right. It's a privilege.
So you want to do it justice. You want to do your homework. You want to deliver a well-articulated thought.
But I guess what I'm saying is like people like this, it's more of a, I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled to this leak. I'm entitled to this information, right? It doesn't do anything. Like, it's exciting. Yes, it's cool, I guess, in a way to be able to see things early, but it also really hurts in the long run. That momentary rush of it being cool is overshadowed eventually by the long-term negative effects.
And it also,
I mean, we saw that personally at Nintendo Dads when that Bowser 3DS game, when it hit and they dried up, man. And we all of a sudden were like, it was like we would get stuff because we had been offered Mario Odyssey and other stuff early. And then all of a sudden that game, and it just was like, yep, we'll get it to you on launch day.
It's kind of like when we were in customs coming into the States and people were jetting in line. They were late for their flights. A couple people were cutting in line. And then the guard says, if anybody cuts in line next, nobody's getting processed. And then that shipped everybody up, which thank God, like everybody's like, well, I don't want to ruin it for other people. And that's generally the guidelines I think that we as podcasters, we follow. We don't want to ruin it for the next people as much as we don't want to ruin it for us. But this person doesn't care about even the consequences to themselves. And they certainly don't care about what they owe to Nintendo or the community or anything. It's just so selfish and stupid.
You have to wonder what their thought process is on this. Is it just
clicks?
Trying to get that 15 minutes or 15 seconds of fame. Yeah, first.
Worth it.
Is it worth it? It's like now you've just been blackballed. So now, So
There are personalities out there though that have almost made a name for themselves for getting that inside scoop on things and then being right about it. So there are examples where somehow that's made to work, and maybe people just don't understand like the nuance of delivering like hints like this is what I'm hearing and then turning out to be right versus like flat out here's the game. And I don't to be honest, I don't know if I like either, but there is a difference.
Well, I think one is rumor, right? So I could say I might have that information. It's how I present it. Sean, I've heard rumor about X, or what you could expect might be this. Right. So it sounds like I can speculate, right? I can pull threads from what I believe, as opposed to here, Sean, let me now show you on my screen exactly what it is. Right now, you're like, well, that's hard evidence and proof.
Right.
Or one way is called journalism, and the other way is just data mining results.
And that's it. Maybe these people think that they are, by doing this, they are a journalist. They're not really understanding like what that difference is. I'm failing to remember the person's name who was even before, like when the NX was an NX, and she was talking about how it's launching with a Zelda, she had the whole thing like laid out. We already knew it was a Zelda.
Emily
Anyways.
Rogers.
Emily Rogers, that's it. Yes, thank you. So like, what's the difference between like an Emily Rogers and this? Like, I think the difference is clear. But if for the unenlightened, then maybe they're just trying to do that and make an ongoing name, because Emily Rogers, has become a bit of a source, and people kind of look to her over the years.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what it comes down to. It's I want notoriety, I want the clicks, I want to build something here, but the way you go about it has been completely misguided.
Yeah. The main difference is, do you have multiple sources to confirm a story, or are you the source by data mining garbage out of something? And that's not the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, folks, hopefully you're able to avoid any spoilers of Pokemon Sword and Shield, because it is just 1 week away from its official release. So if you could avoid those spoilers, absolutely try and do. And, of course, the game is available on your Nintendo Switch eShop right now for pre-order. Quickly around the horn, who is getting what copy?
I have my non-data mined copy of Sword already on my system.
Excellent. So Jesse's a Sword guy. Tim, what are you getting?
I have Shield on my Christmas list.
Shield on your Christmas list, Marty?
I have the dual pack of Sword Shield.
Of course you do.
Coming to the house. My son is Sword and I am Shield.
Excellent. And Sean, if you were to pick one, what would you pick?
Well, I forgot actually. I have Shield pre-ordered from Walmart Canada, but my pre-orders from them have been a little dicey, so I'm not even sure if it's gonna work.
Oh no!
So if it comes in, I'll grab it, but who knows? So I've got Shield, because that's the blue one, right?
Oh.
God, I'm
No, I think
It's the one with the dog, the Shield dog.
Here's a hint.
Yeah.
This is not going to be a game that will sell.
But
out.
isn't Sword red and like isn't like
Nope.
mostly,
Sword is blue. Shield is red.
Okay, then I have Sword. I like blue. My favorite.
All right. And for those of you that are shocked, I have it pre-ordered as well, and I have Shield pre-ordered. Speaking of pre-orders and maybe some weird things that Nintendo's doing, just today they announced a new game called Stretcher, which is a weird-looking ambulance game, 2-player co-op. Now, currently, we've only got the trailer out of Japan, and it is available on Twitter as well right now, and on My Nintendo Life. Check it out. Looks like almost like a Overwatch. That's not right. Overcooked meets an ambulance repair or an ambulance medical worker.
I need it.
It's out in Japan.
Is it out in Japan? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Because I started looking it up because you didn't have the title, and it's actually The Stretchers.
The Stretchers.
And
there we go.
it's out in Japan with huge amounts of foreign language support, like Dutch, German, English. So the article says, localization is pretty much a no-brainer. I didn't get to look at the trailer though, but the idea of having to cooperate with people to with my kids to carry injured people to an ambulance just does not.
You should see how they throw the people in the back of the ambulance when you watch the video. They just kind of toss them off the stretcher into the back of the ambulance.
It is a bit crazy. We're going to post the video up on our Facebook page if you haven't had a chance, but do take a watch. And again, I think much like when we saw for Brain Training, I wouldn't be shocked if this hits our North American eShop in a matter of weeks. And this could be this, ladies and gentlemen, is the December anchor game that Nintendo has been waiting for. They're concerned that sales of Pokemon are going to be bad, so let's put out the Stretcher, completely unannounced IP. Have you got it on your Switch already, Jesse?
I don't, but I checked the Japanese eShop. It's 2,000 yen, so it's about 18-ish bucks. So it'll probably be 20 bucks if it comes out here.
That sounds about right, but it looks like a fun party game. But speaking of maybe saving your money, and maybe you can have a bit of a savings, we have got some announcements for Black Friday, of course, coming up here in the coming days. So maybe if you're looking to maybe buy some new content, we'll make you aware of this. So this is officially from Nintendo. We have a couple of savings here.
I think this is all from Target.
This is all from Target. Yeah, and I actually have one from Canada as well. You're welcome,
No,
Sean.
this is actually from Nintendo's site.
Is from Nintendo. Okay. So Nintendo is going to be offering a Nintendo Switch bundle with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for $299, Super Mario Odyssey for $39.99,
Wow.
Super Mario Party, $39.99. Breath of the Wild, $39.99. Splatoon 2, $39.99. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, $39.99. Mario Tennis Aces, Kirby Star Allies, Octopath, and Wolfenstein, all $39.99. And a new set of Joy-Cons, either the gray or red. Either the gray ones or the neon red or neon blue for $59.99.
I think it's the red-blue pack.
Yeah, and then the Pokeball accessory that is for Pokemon Let's Go is $19.99. That's a savings of $30 because that's usually $50. So some big savings there. I know that over in Canada, they have some savings as well, and I'm going to pull that up really quickly because we did
while
get
you're doing that, let's make mention here that this Switch with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the old SKU. So these are bundles left over from holiday last year.
It was literally the same deal, wasn't it? It was like
it's the same deal.
I think Wario 64 pulled up like thanks Nintendo. I think
Yep.
it was the same.
He pulled
same
up the Target ad.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And it was on the same way it was tilted, the same fonts, everything.
Yep. No, why if it ain't broke.
And I did go through the entire Target ad because I wanted to see, and there are some fair deals for games. I think this first party stuff is really good. There's also some great deals on third party Switch games. But did notice that the Nintendo Switch Lite is included in the Black Friday sale paper, but there is absolutely no deal on it. Which
no savings.
That was not going to happen.
Not even a gift card to go with it?
Nope.
No.
Wow.
Yeah. I also looked at the Target ad, but more for my wife and I are both thinking of getting new TVs in our respective offices.
Nice. In Canada, respectively, we have a lot of the same deals. However, because our dollar is absolute garbage compared to the US, it's much more expensive. So the Nintendo Switch bundle with Mario Kart 8 is $399. Mario Odyssey is $59.99. Breath of the Wild is $59.99. And a new pair of Joy-Cons, $79.99. So if there's any lessons for you American friends, just come across the border. Your dollar is much better over here.
So your discount makes it look like USD costs.
Yeah, your USD base costs. Yeah, we're awesome that way.
Well, what we usually do is, since I'm in Detroit, I can go over the border to Canada, and there's still a Toys R Us over there. For Christmas, sometimes we'll go over there and do some of the kids' Christmas shopping over there.
Nice.
So, or for the family, nieces and nephews, the kids like to go do that with us. So, but we actually save some money there.
Yeah, Tim, on behalf of all of Canada, thank you for spending your money and making our economy stronger. We appreciate it.
Sometimes what I do is I get a cold, I just try to lick everything, get sick, then I go to the doctor for free, then I buy my Nintendo games. I feel a whole lot better.
Exactly. Yeah, you're like, all the money I saved in medical care, I can spend on video games.
I break my arm, get my cast set up for free, X-rays, everything's free, and then I go buy my games because I can't work.
I do want to throw this out here, and it's totally not Nintendo related, but I know some people may be interested in it because I've had multiple people talk to me about it in the last few days. Walmart's deals on brand new phones on Black Friday are absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And if you were looking to do Christmas shopping and you were looking and a phone is on your list, then Walmart is the place you need to go for that, as they offer gift cards usually in the amount of $250 to $350, $400.
Wow.
For getting your phone there. And those are gifts. And the thing is those gift cards are, let me hand you your phone and I will scan your gift card and hand it to you right now as well. It's not, it comes in the mail later. We did this with my wife last year. She wanted the iPhone XR and we got a $250 gift card that day.
That's
awesome.
Crazy. And when you turn around, you turn around and use it on Christmas. Because the thing is that the way we talked about it is like, well, we have to get you a new phone anyway. So why don't we do it at Walmart to get this deal? And Sam's Club, which is their kind of big box wholesale place, is running a deal this week on iPhone 11 where you get a $400 gift card.
Wow.
That's
good to know because my wife needs a new iPhone. So that's cool.
There you go.
Nice.
Walmart's the place to go, man. And you may not get the color you want, but hey, who cares, right?
Right.
It's
yeah.
It's phone.
Cool.
Couple other quick updates before we move on here, folks. Terry Bogard joined the official Smash roster earlier this week as Sakurai sat down for 45 minutes and talked to us about the game and about movesets, which is great. Just as an update, no new fighter was announced, no real anything else special.
No.
But for 45 minutes and some Mii skins or Mii fighter skins, that's cool.
See, I think I was mostly amused at the internet's reaction to Mai's intentional disclusion from the game.
Correct.
Which he did
Because-
not even say. Did you know that? The whole line about good boys and girls?
Yeah,
He did not say that. It was added by translators as flavor text.
was it? I didn't
He
notice that.
said all he said was because Smash is a game for kids of all ages.
Mm-hmm.
Or a game is a game enjoyed by all ages. Which it's funny to me that you say that about Mai and you have Bayonetta on the main roster.
Yeah, you have no issues with Bayonetta, who,
Just saying.
yeah. So,
Her clothes are made out of her hair.
yes. That's interesting, right?
Right.
But yeah,
I love this character though, by the way. Can we talk about that for a few minutes?
yeah, I got to
So
play.
much fun to play.
Yeah, I played him. If you can go over to our YouTube channel, I did a live stream of it a couple days ago, or the day it was released. I actually won a couple matches online playing with him, so I felt pretty good about myself in life.
This was
it's a lot
like
of fun.
like when he was announced, I was like, "This sucks. This is
Yeah.
terrible. Awful choice." I'm like, I get it, but I don't get it. But then the playing as him turned the tide for me.
Yeah.
It was kind of the same way as Joker. I mean, like it was so, and you know what I love about every DLC character has introduced a new way to play Smash.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, Joker with the persona, that would come out when he takes damage. Hero with the command down B. Banjo has the move that's limited.
Mm-hmm.
In the stage that rotates during it, and then now you've got Terry, who is basically better Ryu,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and has the series first double side B moves,
Mm-hmm.
and super moves, which I thought that's genius.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just don't know how much people connect with Terry Bogard though. Like unless you're just like a real student of 90s fighting games.
Yeah, it was a bit of a deep cut, but I think that people seem very engaged with it, right? Like, and I think it shows that these fighters, they're willing to go kind of to any lengths and deep corners to find what they're interested in.
And if you go back to Sakurai's earlier comment, Nintendo picked these 5.
Mm-hmm.
So Terry Bogard was on their radar. So my question is this: knowing that and seeing how deep a cut this is, we've talked about it before, but I think it changes things. Who is number 5?
Sean, what do you think? Who do you think is going to be the 5th fighter?
Master Chief? No, I don't want Master Chief in that game. It all seems to be very Japanese leaning, this group of fighters, doesn't it? So I'm not
Minus
sure.
Banjo, yeah.
Minus Banjo for sure. But yeah, even starting with Joker and everything like that. So then do they balance it out? Do they have something a little bit more Western here? And with this deep cut, you kind of go, I think every time we get a new character, we go, the well is deeper than we thought. I think because a lot of us come up with like the obvious ones, and then they come up with this, and it's like, so I think with most things with Nintendo, it's really hard, I think, to predict. But to be honest, I feel like I've got everybody I want in this game. They've come out and clarified that, like, stop asking for Goku. He's not in a video game. He's not going to be in the game, kind of thing. So I think that would actually, I would love to see Goku in it, but that's not going to happen. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I also truly believe, and I think it's not a shock here, we will see the 5th character announced at the Game Awards, right? That completely makes sense. No one's going to be shocked by that one. I don't think anywhere else that they're going to announce that.
Game Awards with a longer tail till release.
Well, yeah, they've only got probably only 2 months.
Because they said February, right? Would be the last distribution.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gunning for Justin Moosin to be in the game.
I'm hoping, right? Fingers crossed. With his down rack smash,
Mm-hmm. Down rack.
Just throws the root,
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the way.
The thing is that I'm kind of like what Sean said. Like, I've got a ton of people that in this game that I love. I don't play nearly as as many characters as I should, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that all the characters that I want, I think would just be fun, and I don't know that translates over to a full-fledged character.
Like, are we still asking for Waluigi? Like, is that a thing?
I want Waluigi, but like I'm like at the level of asking for Waluigi or more that I want Steve from Minecraft to be in this. Like, I think
I'll take Blades of Steel hockey player. Like,
well, with Banjo and Kazooie, do we think that that's exhausted the Microsoft, or do they think there's a chance for another Microsoft rep?
Oh, I think so.
Let's throw that to the Microsoft man himself, joining us, Sean Capri from the Xbox Drive. Right?
I don't want it, honestly. Like, I know this is maybe a weird thing to say, but I don't know, man. I like the Banjo. I like that as like it's the Nintendo roots, but I don't think that they need to really go out of their way to go, hey, Xbox people, like, check out over here. Like, that's so they don't need to do that. And I think it's better for Nintendo to cater to their audience rather than maybe go out of the way to please Xbox people.
The rumor that circulated after Banjo was that 4 was Terry Bogard and 5 was Ryu Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden, but I just don't see that. Like, I don't see that as a fit for Smash.
Maybe Conquer, like, as long as it comes from Rare, as long as like there's Nintendo heritage, then sure. But
like, I get that there were 3 Ninja Gaiden games on the NES, but modern day Ryu Hayabusa, like, that people know, where is that guy's name been made? PlayStation
Track and Field.
Well, that's Cloud, really.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that is Cloud. I mean, you're right.
But at least there's a Japanese kind of heritage.
I also
there too.
love. I saw this meme, and it was like, it had Sakurai's face over 2 figures, and one of them was hunched over a plate crying, and it had like 2 things on it, and it said, "When you ask Square Enix to help with Smash," and then like the next one was the same figure, and the plate was overflowing, and it was like, "When you ask SNK to help with Smash."
Nice. Yeah.
I think really, to your question, Justin, Xbox.
Tracks.
We talk about this on the Xbox Drive a lot, where Xbox doesn't have characters like Nintendo. Nobody has characters like Nintendo.
Yeah.
First of all, I think Sony comes certainly close, but when you really think of like the pantheon of franchises and properties, like Xbox doesn't even come close to that. So the well is actually very dry already, and people that means that people automatically go to like Master Chief or Marcus Phoenix. It's like that's not, or Forza Horizon Driver. I'm not really sure. So there's not really a whole lot to really carry over unless you go to the Rare stable.
I'm still rooting for Track and Field guy.
Y'all, everybody
or
knows.
Mayo Wii Fit Trainer.
Everybody knows
I'm
that
waiting
it's going to
for-
be Blinks the cat.
Yeah.
Blinks.
Nice. That's a
It'll be
deep cut.
Blinks.
You know who I'm hoping
That's
for?
a deep cut.
No, the Yonoid guy. Yonoid. Check it out.
It's going to be Nat.
Yeah. Tim,
And
anyone from your stable?
I'm still hoping for Leon or somebody from Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So
That'd be cool.
I just don't know with all the back and forth between Nintendo and Capcom to get anything. Sometimes it just seems like it's
How
tough.
many Resident Evil games have they released this year? Like 7?
Yeah. I think
6.
so.
There's a little smoke there. I mean, right?
Right.
I mean,
They
like,
got all those.
almost
games
all these characters have had some game of some form show up on Switch. I mean, I know Joker's coming. Banjo is heritage character or legacy character, but come on.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Well, folks, hopefully we're going to find out more, and of course, at the Game Awards. And if you're enjoying playing as Terry Bogard, let us know as well. A couple of other quick news items I want to talk about. And then I'm going to throw a little bit of a question topic to Sean to talk about Nintendo and Microsoft. A couple of quick things. Fire Emblem Three Houses is a free update, and Wave 3, the paid DLC, is available as of this Thursday, November 7th. So make sure you check that out. There's a free update, which updates you to version 1.0.3. And then Wave 3, of course, being available for those of you that have bought that as well. Wave 1 and 2 are already out, with Wave 4 coming in April 2020. A couple other things to make sure that you are aware of as well. Today, Friday, Maximus Cup. I think this is like the 7th or 8th. Maximus 9th. Thank you, Maximus Cup. So that if you're playing Tetris 99, you can get a Pokemon Sword and Shield skin. So that is available. I don't know about you guys, but every time these skins are in, like I instantly go and start playing it. And that starts actually today at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Not quite yet there, Sean.
I'm streaming this.
It's in 15 minutes.
It's part of Extra Life.
15 minutes. There you go. Sean's jumping.
I'm getting
we'll
my,
see about
I'm
that.
getting my,
there you
my
go.
skin.
The Super Smash Brothers.
Pacific time.
North America.
It's an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, an hour and 15 for you, buddy. It's Pacific time. Pacific.
I don't know how time zones work.
I know.
It means nothing to me.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate North American Online is now open through registration through to November 9th as well. Folks, those are our quick headlines. I want to throw us over to Sean for a bit of a conversation. Obviously, Sean joins us from a couple of podcasts, Xbox Drive being one of them. And of course, If We Ran Nintendo, which is a blatant rip off of episode 11 of the Nintendo Dads, but whatever. Let them do what they want to. Our lawyers are still in conversation, but we may not be able to actually have that come through. But Sean, I do want to talk to you a little bit about what we've seen from Microsoft in the last little bit, right? Obviously, we're giving a bit of ribbing and throwing some barbs at Microsoft to you, but Microsoft and Nintendo's relationship has become more over the last several months, and that relationship continues to grow. What do you think? Like, how do you feel about this? Do you feel like it's a good thing? Do you think we're going to see more of it? Do you think they're done and dusted? Like, what are you hoping for?
Well, I think it's gotten quite cozy, and I love it just as a gamer who plays on everything, primarily Nintendo and Xbox. Sony, whatever. I have it, but I think it's actually a bit of a survival tactic for Xbox in this gen to just try and latch on to something that seems to be working. And I think that they had a few products that sell to Nintendo fans, and it seems to have worked. But I honestly don't know that I expect a whole lot more of it. In the next generation from a first party launching kind of like day and date on a Switch. I think Xbox realizes where exclusives mattered, where they can be a little bit more flexible with them. Things like Ori and the Blind Forest, I think, is a tremendous example, and Cuphead are really good examples of games that honestly probably sell better on Nintendo. For whatever reason, the audience there is more connected with those types of games than the giant like AAA things like Halo and Gears of War that are on Xbox. So I'm not anticipating those big franchises coming over to Switch anytime. And then as a Nintendo fan who appreciates a lot of the stuff that Xbox does, I love that the relationship is there because I want Nintendo to figure out online faster, probably more than anybody, or maybe along with you guys as well. And I want my friends list to be meaningful. I want to be able to access this content from anywhere, and all of these, and even a Game Pass as a service. If Nintendo can start to adopt some of these things, then they've got all my money. That's the weird part for Xbox that they almost need to be careful about, is that it's special to Xbox. And if they hand over too much to Nintendo, then people go, okay, well, great. We'll take your great services. Those are what we want. But we want to play Nintendo games. Right. We want to play all the Mario, all the Zelda, all these things day and date. And we don't want to pay full price and never have them discounted. Mm-hmm. So if too much of it carries over into Nintendo land, I actually think it's a bit dangerous for Xbox, because we don't talk about killer apps on Xbox anymore. We talk about Game Pass. Mm-hmm. So if you're giving away things that are not necessarily like it's not even really proprietary. Anybody can do this. Anybody can launch a service like this, particularly because the games you are downloading, you don't even like PlayStation. They thought they had the leg up with PlayStation Now, where you're streaming directly to your console. That I think is proprietary, and we're seeing that with xCloud and Google Stadia. But to give people access digitally to a library of games to download to their thing, like Nintendo could launch that today, and they, in many ways, they do. So,
hey, Sean, sorry to interrupt. I wanted to ask you a question on base what you're saying there. But what if they do something like they do with PC, where they limit those games, where it's a Game Pass for PC, only certain things get played on the PC as opposed to what can be played on the console. So what if they do a Game Pass that's on other consoles like Nintendo's, that you get limited to certain games that are on, the Game Pass for Nintendo Switch, versus Game Pass for Xbox's new machine.
I mean, that's the other thing that we've seen Xbox do is expand into the PC world that I don't know Nintendo needs to really do that, or if it even makes sense. Even Xbox, I think, struggled for that, to make a case for why they would want to do that. I think it has turned out. I think it would be even more of a struggle, because there is no connective tissue, I think, as Justin would say, between Nintendo and PC at all. But there certainly is connective tissue between Xbox and PC, just because of Windows and Microsoft and everything. So I'm not sure that I would really see that. But what I do want to see as the relationship kind of continues on between Xbox and Nintendo is those more like those second party titles like Cuphead and Ori. They're more kind of like the indie style games. For those to land on Switches rather than just be confined to an Xbox, you don't need a big beefy Xbox for those titles. But they should come first, but they should also find an audience who will play them with Nintendo. And that's probably the best part, is now they are being played. That's an on-ramp that I like to talk about, for people to come from Nintendo over to Xbox. That really has to be the strategy if you're Xbox, is trying to get people to come over and say, there's more than I thought here. I thought you were only about Forza, Halo, and Gears, but it turns out these other games that I've now played on my Switch, there's more like that over on Xbox, and you can play them on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's great. What do you guys think?
Not that I thought about it before.
No, not that you probably spent many a time jotting down ideas, right? Like, feels like it was very structured.
Yeah, if you're an Xbox dad, this is my next podcast.
Right, excellent,
Drive.
Awesome. What should we be looking forward to if and I do think that, obviously there's a couple of us here who are just exclusive Nintendo fans. That's the only console that we have. But what should Xbox fans be looking forward to in the next coming months or in the next year? And obviously there are some other projects in the pipeline, but what are you hyped about, and what should fans be hyped about?
My number one, and everybody should be hyped about this, is not getting nearly enough chatter, is the next Ori game. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Ori and the Blind Forest is one of the best games of the generation, and I'm so glad Nintendo fans get to play it, because I think they have found an appreciation for it, although maybe a little bit buried this fall. I don't know that anybody really talked about it. I
do actually agree with you. I think the challenge with that, and I'm gonna raise my hand as one of the guilty people. I was preaching. I was like, Ori, yeah, I want it, and it came out, and I was like, yeah, and then I got drowned in games that were in beginning of September and mid-September, and then I had stuff coming up from early October that it squeezed out Ori. Like I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have it downloaded. Like, I had pre-purchased it, pre-installed it. It is on my Switch. I have not yet had an opportunity to play it. But it's one of those games that I'm so excited to play. But just to your point, this last 2 months or 3 months of Nintendo's catalog, like, they have jammed everything in their dog into that space, and I think that may have
poor dog,
right? And it's not even Nintendo.
It had that very unfortunate September release.
Yeah, we joked how busy September was. October was not quite as busy, but definitely up there. And Ori came out a week after Zelda, and that's not a good spot to release.
You're right. Yeah. It would have been a perfect December game, honestly. There's a lot to be had in December, and So what am I looking forward to? Ori is, I think, in February. And then just a year of speculation and a lot of playful console fanboy wars of PS5 versus Scarlet. It's going to be a really interesting year. E3 is going to be back in a big bad way. I think we've been questioning what is E3 for, and there's been a lot of, I think, bad press. When new consoles come out, that's what it's for.
So we're going to have two sets of console wars next year?
I mean, I joke about the wars. I really hope it's not a console war.
We have that, and we also have VCS versus Zymica coming out next year.
Mm-hmm. But honestly, like, it's been a dry the generation has been pretty bare bones. Like, it kind of feels like the Wii U era.
I know. I was gonna say, this is what the Wii U felt like for us. Let's talk about paper color Mario Splash for 3 months.
Yeah.
Right? Like, sweet.
And then that's the game I don't play right away. And 3 months later, I finally play it, and I rag on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so what are Xbox fans are talking about? Gears of War or Gears 5 and a $250 controller.
Yeah. Okay. Let's pause right there. What the heck? Does this thing make a coffee for you?
It's really nice, Justin. It's really nice.
Do you have it with you?
No, I've got the original Elite.
Because you keep looking over there as if it's.
I was gonna grab the original one.
It's over there enshrined behind a glass case.
Glass
You're not allowed to
games,
touch
for
it.
him.
It's not. You're not allowed to
laser
play games
beams.
with it. Yeah. Yeah, it heats the house. Actually, we get to save on heating. We also install it in the car. It runs the car. It's like a battery. It's like a Tesla battery.
Yeah.
It also plays Xbox
I seen
games.
something about it on Twitter, like who in the crap can do something like that, or why would you spend that much on a controller? And John Wall from Megadads, he was like, well, I don't know, but some people, I don't know why they would buy two Switches, and I was like,
Good point. And that's the thing is, especially
Thanks.
Nintendo fans would understand this. If Nintendo had a $250 controller, you guys would all buy it, and you know it. You're like, yeah.
Well, we already
kinda.
pay $100 for a set of Joy-Cons
And that's
in
it.
Canada.
Exactly. We
Yeah,
pay how
well-
much for a Pro controller? It doesn't have a headphone jack in it, for God's sakes. This thing can walk your dog, make your coffee, has a 40-hour battery life on it.
I did go almost 3 years with one set of Joy-Con before finally breaking down and buying a second set.
Yeah, mine are drifting now. I think it was once they heard about Joy-Con drift, then it was contagious. Like, oh crap! It's kind of like when you hear somebody's got a cold, then you're feeling sick.
All the cool other Joy-Cons are doing it. I don't care. They shouldn't either. And all of a sudden, your nerds are drifting.
Yeah.
And obviously people are like, why are we talking about Xbox this much? But of course, if you have an expert like Sean Capri here, you have to lean into this some more. But Sean, talk to me a little bit about, obviously, Google Stadia is coming up very soon, right? This month. Xbox has their own counter to this, right?
Yep.
Why should people be excited about Project xCloud? And are you apprehensive? How do you land on this?
No, I'm very excited about it. I was actually excited for Google Stadia. I was really trying to just not be super negative about it right at the start, because I think there's a lot of fanboyism that happens when a new player comes to the table. And as an Xbox fan, I remember from day one when Xbox came in and they said, we're going to make a console. And everybody's like, you're not allowed to make a console. You're not Nintendo or PlayStation. And a lot of people remember back when Sony came out with their system and like, you're not allowed to make a system. You're not Nintendo or Sega. So like, I don't think that precludes especially a giant like Google to come out and give it a shot and see where they can take us with it. The problem is they don't really have any games, and I don't think really anybody believes in the tech. So those are two kind of big check boxes that they've failed to check off for people. With Xbox, your games carry over, and I think that's the biggest thing, is that you play the games that you've had on your system. Now you're talking about Game Pass. Like, they've just been leading up to this. It's probably one of the best and well thought out, best coordinated launches, in my opinion. And now the access that people have to it is through beta, just in the States and a couple of local, I think in the UK, the US, and one other market. So people are able to try it in a very safe, costless way, and it's been pretty good so far. Google Stadia is launching at full price as like a founder's pack. You have to pay almost like a premium to get in at what is essentially a beta stage with questionable games or questionable access, with unclear subscriptions and things like that. So my hype for Stadia has really come down, because like they're just not doing themselves any favors. And I wanted to, I was their person. Sell it to me. I've even talked to my wife about, like, we need a new Chromecast anyways. We might as well order this thing. And I've talked myself out of it, which is really unfortunate. But with xCloud, I see where Xbox has gone in the last couple of years. This is the Wii U generation in a lot of different ways, and I expect xCloud and Scarlet to be hopefully a lot of a rebound that the Switch was for Nintendo. So I'm really looking forward to accessing new types of games on my phone on the go, but also that I don't have to give it up completely. Whereas Stadia, you're starting from scratch, I think.
Right.
Sean, as somebody who maybe is not like us, who doesn't have the Nintendo blinders on, right? And you, I mean, I see the stuff you post and follow along with you on Twitter there, and you're more of you spread your love around a few systems.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like Stadia is going to do well? Do you feel like that it's are we ready for that? Or like, because I have pretty strong opinions about Stadia and Google in the gaming space in general. But what do you think? I know that we're not Stadia dads, but
well, we'll bring it back to Nintendo. This Switch is it actually, compared to Stadia, I think it's even more of a marvel than we think of it right now, because I can play this on the plane. And I can't play Stadia on the plane. I can't play it on the train. I wish I had more rhymes, because that was going to be a great Dr. Seuss run.
I was like, bus,
Spain.
Spain, come on.
And I can't play it in Spain because I don't have data access, I think. the console market and Nintendo is so forward thinking that they've actually cornered off. They've partitioned off this cloud access stuff, because this is a console that you can play everywhere, and that's what Stadia is trying to be. But it's not that, and it can never be that, because you'll always be tethered to the internet, and if you can't have that access, then it's not really as free flowing and free accessible as they want to make it sound.
Yeah, like would you be able to play Stadia in your hotel room where you are right now? Do you think?
I think it's questionable. I think the Skype call is hanging by a thread on his hotel. So
yeah, so, I mean, that's what I'm saying is, like, to me, it seems like a very exclusive market.
I agree.
Does that make sense?
It seems it's supposed to be inclusive, but it is very, like, you have to have these set of technical specs to jump into
where
this.
where I live, I will never be able to play Google Stadia. Mm-hmm. Never.
They're telling you can, though. They're saying that the specs are low, but I think that's the problem. Nobody believes
broadband internet on my road.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying is, like, until that even happens, like, I wouldn't even know, and then I have to jump in and I have to make the purchase to see if it works.
Yeah.
Call me crazy, but I just think I would rather, like, download the full copy of the game on the system I already have, or I'd rather just buy the disc.
Big time.
I feel like it's going to be one of those things that's going to come out and it's going to, like, take off because people are, like, in love with the idea of it. Mm-hmm. And then it's going to, like, shoot up and then it's going to fizzle out. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have a bunch of people who are left holding these Stadia controllers and everything, and there's no support.
Yeah, it was interesting because I'll actually lean into a little bit of that as well, because I was interested. I think Sean, like you, I think you and I actually had some back and forth when I was over in Ireland about Stadia as well. And I had thought about it, and there was something in, like, the back of my head. And again, if you're buying a Stadia, great, awesome. I'm just telling you how I'm feeling about it, so I'm not trying to judge anyone, right? But, like, there was something to me where I was like, okay, so I just download the games. That's it. Like, I don't have a physical copy of it, and I was like, I don't know if I feel okay with that. Right. Mm-hmm. But then my psyche was like, Justin, 90% of your games are downloaded, but they're accessible on my Switch. Like, I have it in my hand. I know that I don't need to be internet connected to them. They're there. It's on a memory card. I always have them.
Yeah.
And I trust Nintendo. Right. I have a generational trust with the organization and the company that I understand what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Whereas with something like Google, where we've seen their support of other things in the future, man, oh yeah, I bought Division, blah blah blah, and all of a sudden 9 months from now I can't play it because you've pulled support of it, or you pulled a data center, and I'm
we're all supposed to be wearing Google Glass by now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's, I hate to say it because
they just canceled Daydream, the VR thing headset that they had. They just got rid of that as well. So there's a history here.
Like, I don't want to be like if you're in and you're like, I'm totally on board with this and you want to spend your money on that, then great. But, like, I don't see it having the broad appeal of even, I'm not, like, take the Switch out of the equation as far as portability and everything else, right? I don't see it having the broad appeal of Scarlet or.
Yeah. It should be good. They should be going after the PC market, to be honest with you. I think, talking about the portability, to your point, they'll never win against Switch because the games aren't there for sure. And then the accessibility, again, if I'm in a plane and can't play it. But for PC players who have been dumping literally thousands of dollars into their system, if Google can say to them, you don't have to do that anymore, stop upgrading your system because we got the hardware, you just play the games, that's the selling point, because that PC is going to be set up and connected to the internet the whole time. The
funny part about that, and just a little divergence to the side here, is I read this week about Red Dead Redemption 2, about how there is no PC that exists in the world today that can play it at its highest standards.
Good God.
That technology threshold cannot be achieved.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And
Red
so,
wow.
And so the thing is like, how do we see Stadia fitting into that, right?
Now,
But again, we
I
don't have
just-
to
I
see
just,
yet. Like
I
we were
don't-
talking about a lot of like the frustrations, anticipating a
Sure,
lot of the
sure.
frustrations. But again, like you don't have to upgrade your hardware. You don't have to upgrade the game itself. Like you get a game. I don't think that this is necessarily a Nintendo thing because generally you can put in a game, you can play it. But for every other system out there, we put in a game and we're waiting half an hour to download an 80 gigabyte patch for Call of Duty. Like those are things that just
Right.
completely go away. So
Unless it's
and
the
I think
first
those are
day,
things
then
that
it'll
are
take 5 hours because 5 million people are doing the same thing.
Sure.
Exactly. So there's a lot of I think when we talk about Stadia, the conversation definitely has soured a lot. But I think like Justin, like I am sold on the vision. I want that to be a thing because I think there's a lot of positives to it. And when I do think about where we've gotten in gaming, a lot of the frustrations that we go, well, that's just gaming now. I guess that kind of sucks. Like this kind of gets rid of a lot of that. And if Google can pave the way for Nintendo and Xbox to adopt some of those practices in a way that makes those lives better, then I'm all for it, man. I don't want to poo-poo on this completely because there's certainly positives. There's a reason for it to exist, and it's not completely useless. So I'm still on that fence on Stadia.
Ebucel in the chat on Twitch says, "I have a Zune to sell you."
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
I already have.
Yeah, and I want to
Right.
say the following folks as well. If you are a person who is getting Google Stadia and yours comes in the coming weeks, we would love to hear your experiences.
Yeah.
We'd love for you to send us in a video, an audio clip, whatever, a written response. We'd just love to understand what that's like for you. And we're not, we're not poking fun or picking fun at you. Just none of us are picking it up, but we'd love to. And my hope for you, my hope is that it's an awesome experience and it's exactly what you want it to be, and then it works perfectly and it's a banger, and that we have another contender in the ring. Because despite my commentary, despite my statement, I truly believe that anywhere where we have more competition, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Sony, whether it's Nintendo, whether it's Google, only sharpens the sword for us as consumers, right? We get the opportunity to have games. We get the opportunity for developers to try different things. And I think those are good places for us to be. Jesse, what'd you have there, buddy?
I was thinking, if the hardware itself ends up flopping, but the service ends up being strong, I could see them pulling what xCloud has been talking about and letting you download a Stadia app on your PC, let you download a Stadia app to your Xbox or your Switch, and buying a subscription through them, and then playing the games that way.
Yeah.
Again,
maybe
it doesn't solve the portability problem playing on the train with your Switch, but at least it gives people, you don't have to buy hardware. You've already got the hardware. All you need is the infrastructure and the money to do it. Like
in that scenario, could Google Stadia be the Trojan horse of essentially a Game Pass, right? But it's holding through Nintendo's infrastructure.
Well, and you have to remember too the barriers that it's trying to bulldoze over, which is if you're streaming the game and somebody likes what they see, they can just go, I want to play that as well, and jump alongside you. They can jump into the game with you if they want. They can pick up they can take your save file. Like there's a lot of things that kind of like really future, really visionary type of thinking that is available. Of course, the tech has to work, to Marty's points. Like those are all very valid points, but I feel that I would be remiss if I didn't at least balance out the conversation that there's a lot of positives to it.
And you're right. That all sounds amazing, right? Like,
if it works,
it's next level stuff that we wish that we could have. I mean, it kind of reminds me though of, you remember the first time they showed off the Wii U,
right?
And they showed Zombie U, and it was, how do I beat this boss? Oh, let me call my friend. Oh, you got to do this, and the code is blah blah blah. You got to do this and then punch it in. Did that ever really work?
That's a really good point.
No, it never really worked.
I think I made one video call just for the sake of saying I made a video call.
Yeah. And so, again, it sounds great on paper, and it sounds great when a dude on stage is saying it, and everybody out in the crowd's going, ooh, yeah, oh, yeah. But am I really, like, if all of us had a Stadia and you were on playing Doom Eternal, and I'm like, oh man, I don't have Doom Eternal, I want to jump on with Sean and play, is it really going to be as flawless as they say it is, or is it going to be tied up in a bunch of red tape?
And that's it. It has to be flawless. It's like touch controls on your phone, then it's not, and it works, but to me it's just not good enough, and I don't even touch it. It's not that I use it half the time because it works half the time. I use it 0% of the time because it works half the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But how many times to that point? How many times we all go, I want to play Smash, but only half of us have Smash or whatever it is. Like there's always that game that not everybody has, and if it puts everybody on the same playing field, that'd be amazing. Although I guess you still have to buy it. I don't know, man. See, there's too many. I need to experience.
It's very nebulous, and they still haven't on a lot of things. They still haven't landed the plane and made definitive statements, and that's where I kind of go, I don't know.
Do you want anything like it on Switch, like to kind of flip it around?
To be honest with you, like in my view of that is like I really would love xCloud to come to Switch or Game Pass or whatever. I'm fine with that. But again, I don't want it to be that I have to stream that. Like I guess, and that's what Game Pass isn't really that though. You download the games, right?
Download them. Yeah, that's
right.
But
if they merged in xCloud, xCloud is the streaming. So if they merged in xCloud and the Game Pass for Switch, then you could play Alan Wake on your Switch or whatever other game out there that normally wouldn't be available any other way. Because they sure as hell aren't going to make a Switch build of that game.
Yeah, no, I could see that doing much better than, and I'm with you. I don't know who it was, either you or Justin, that said Stadia as service, or Jesse even, down the road, Stadia as service. Like I can kind of see them going that way after this flops. Not that I think it's just going to bomb right out of the gate.
Yeah, just like Ouya flopped, but we still got enough good things out of it. That some of the games that were Ouya exclusive are now on the Switch too.
Yay, Towerfall.
Yeah, Towerfall's so good, right?
So good. Yeah.
Tim, any final thoughts before we segue off? Wow.
Just the model that Stadia has, their subscription model, was what I was confused with at first when they first announced it. I thought it was a subscription model to where you paid a certain amount per month and then got to play those games that you got to pick from the list, kind of like your Game Pass type thing. But no, you don't. You still got to buy the games too, along with paying for the service to use that back end that they have. Yeah. So when I found out about that, that was another thing that turned me off.
Their free service versus their paid service just means you can get more resolution, more frames per second.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, I like the idea of the xCloud combination with the Game Pass, which is why I got the Game Pass for the PC, the Ultimate Game Pass, actually, because I wanted to play with that along with PlayStation's PS Now, because I want to see these things. I want to see what's good for me and my family, for that combination of because we've always been a 2-console family where it's usually just Sony and Nintendo for here, but as I mentioned to you before, Sean, Sam keeps asking for Christmas for that Xbox, so may end up getting one.
That's my boy. That's great, man.
So that's those things that I get worried about.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like with Xbox, and I think that I've looked at it as well. Of like, if I'm going to invest that money and decide to spend the 150 Canadian bucks, whatever it is, why would I not just go for an Xbox? Right, just go for an Xbox, throw it down on a Game Pass, because that interests me. I think Game Pass, that's revolutionary. I think that's a smart business decision. I would love to see what is a AKA Nintendo Game Pass look like. Do you know what I mean? Like on their own console, I think that would be amazing. And if I was to pull the trigger on an Xbox, that's how I would do it. It's just get the Xbox, just get Game Pass, and just you're off the races. So
well that's why I got the PC version too, because a lot of those games I can still play on my PC with the Ultimate Game Pass. So I didn't have to go buy an Xbox just to play some of those games.
And a lot of the games are sort of the smaller games, sort of the indie games on PC, which you could get you could play on a laptop that isn't this beefy gaming PC as well. And to bring it back to Nintendo, I think Nintendo Switch is doing really well right now. It's doing gangbusters right now, and they're lucky for that. I would say they're fortunate for that. But if they slip at all, they're going to have an answer for this, I think, because I don't buy a lot of indie games on my Switch anymore because most of them go to Game Pass, and if they don't right away, I can anticipate that they will. Games like Bad North is a game that launched on Switch.
There's also Apple Arcade, which is
big time.
So
the quality of the Switch is really kind of like standing up for them right now. But if that ever slips, if people kind of like walk away from the Switch for any reason, or maybe they already are and just small numbers. But this is a situation that's very real for me as a person who plays both. We were talking about, you guys were running through before the show of games that I should be playing on the plane. I'm like, I hum and haw about like a game like Moonlighter. It's $12, but I'm like, I have it on my Xbox. Like it's with Game Pass. So like, am I double dipping per se? and I think I might on this one, but generally speaking, I don't buy my indie games that really like I like my Nindies. I look forward to the Nindy Directs, and like those are perfect for Switch. Like it's almost trademarked. That's almost like a tagline, perfect for Switch. But I'm gonna be like, I have them on another system, and I feel weird as I try to be a fiscally responsible human being to pay money for it on one system when I definitely can play it on a different one with Game Pass.
Yeah,
That's probably a scenario that where people who travel more would probably prefer having it on the Switch, even if they did have an Xbox.
Yeah, and that's why Stadia can't compete. And
for me, as someone who travels a lot for my job, I love the Switch.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? I absolutely adore that. And I think we were going back a little bit to your conversation earlier with like, if I had a Stadia, the hotels I go to, and Sean, your experiences right now, sometimes that Wi-Fi is just barely by a thread. Like I'm trying to just make like a FaceTime call to talk to my kids, and it's bad. It's like, so there ain't no way we're supporting an online video game. Do you know what I mean? Whereas opposed to like, hey, cool, I've got my entire Switch library. What of the 125 games I have do I want to play right now that I don't need an internet connection to? So, I think Jesse, you're calling out something in the chat.
Yeah, Mecha Dragon says there is a Nintendo Game Pass, guys. It's called Nintendo Switch Online, but the difference is that's only with the NES and SNES games. You're not going to be able to play your Cat Quest with that.
But fair,
you can on Apple Arcade.
Yeah.
And do you have to be connected to the internet for that? I've always been connected, but I've never tried Nintendo Switch Online.
You have a 7-day handoff, a 7-day handshake.
You talk about NES and Super
yeah,
Nintendo?
like, and I just
you have to be online once, but once you are, then you can play offline for a week.
Okay.
Yeah. I know, Marty, you experienced that when you went to Mexico.
I did, and I was able to connect to the internet long enough to.
Maybe that's what I'll play on the way home.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Play some of that. All right,
connect
folks.
From your hotel first.
Yeah. Well, All right, folks. So we're getting cautious of almost being a 2-hour podcast here, so we're gonna quickly move on to what we've been playing. We're each gonna have 1 minute to talk about a game we've been playing. That's it. Pick one, and then we're gonna move on. So, who wants to go first?
I will.
Marty.
Been playing Luigi's Mansion 3. It's phenomenal. If you have a Switch and you didn't buy Luigi's Mansion 3, why? Oh my gosh, go buy it. And yes, you can pet the dog. It's fantastic. I played through a level of it earlier tonight on stream because Mario Maker 2 was what I was playing for the first 2 hours, and they shut the servers down. And I didn't even know that was going to happen. So I had to swap over to something. So I swapped over to Luigi's Mansion. It's such a gem. All three of those games are just fantastic. Highly recommended. It's
Luigi's animation and it's just so awesome.
It's so good. Yeah.
I love the introduction of Gooigi also. Gooigi's
if you're not sold on it, just by hearing what we say about it, go watch Justin's review of it on YouTube. He did a fantastic job of highlighting it without spoiling anything or giving too much away. It is a game that needs to be in every Switch owner's library.
That's awesome.
Definitely.
Thank you, Marty. Timothy.
Also been playing Luigi's Mansion 3. So enough's been said about that. Go watch Justin's review of that. And then I also got the Luigi's Mansion 3 theme for Tetris 99. That's actually my first theme that I got, so nice. That was fun. But the game and one other game I wanted to mention that Marty actually reviewed back in March of 2018 is Membrane. Someone mentioned it. I don't remember who in Discord, but someone mentioned it there, or maybe it was on Twitter, that they were playing it, and it was on sale for like 89 cents or something crazy like that. So I went and picked it up, and that game is actually pretty good. It's actually interesting and kind of funny, but I'm gonna have to play that some more, and maybe I'll do a review of that one too. But the game I've really been diving in the most is Asphalt 9. It's the car racing game that's free to play to start, or free to start. And yes, you can sink some money into it, kind of like your Fortnite, where you can buy some cars and cards to soup up your they're blueprints. You can buy blueprints for the cars, and the more blueprints you get, once you've collected the required amount, then you get that car, and then you can buy upgrades for your car. So, but I've been having a lot of fun with that, and actually joined the Switch Island Cruise club that they had over there.
Nice.
In that game, and yep.
There you go, Sean.
It's I love race car games, and especially arcadey ones. And this one, I like the phone version, and I had to get this one and tried it out. And yeah, I sunk some money into it because I wanted to throw some money at the devs because I absolutely think this is the best racing game on the Switch right now.
Nice. Awesome. It says Asphalt 9, right?
Correct.
Awesome. The other one you mentioned was Membrane?
Membrane, yes.
Membrane. Okay. Okay, cool. Just want to make sure if anyone's paying attention or wanted to check it out for themselves. Jesse, let's head over to you.
Okay,
what do you got for us?
Last week I mentioned I started playing Cat Quest 2 and mentioned I didn't remember much of the first one, but I thought it was just seemed to be more of the same. I ended up finishing the game. I really enjoyed it, and the way the story wrapped up, hints at, basically says Cat Quest 3 is coming.
Nice.
And so something that they said at the end made me want to replay through the first game just so I could remember what was going on, because this definitely is a sequel. The story is continuing through different groups at a time. So I loaded up my old Cat Quest save and did a New Game Plus, and so I pretty much played through the whole game in like 3 or 4 hours since I was already beefed up, and so now I'm caught up and ready for the third game, and who knows when that'll be. 2021.
Nice. There you go. Awesome. And so that's Cat Quest 2 that you've been playing, and you'd recommend it. And you'd recommend it, Jesse?
Yeah, I'd say both games have similar gameplay. Find the one that's cheapest or first, and if you like it, then play both, because it's, again, more of the same no matter which way you go, and it is building a story.
That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Sean, what about you?
I think Tetris 99 is one of the best games to be released this year. Okay. The Maximus Cups are absolutely perfect. I also got the Luigi's Mansion theme, and I'm going to be playing in how's the time zone work in maybe an hour or so here.
You have
40
an hour.
minutes.
40 minutes.
Definitely. Holy crap, man. I with Extra Life last weekend, I jumped into a whole bunch of games, but hanging out with Bobby, the Nintendo guru, at his house. He let me into his house this week. We played Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 3, which I hadn't played since my time at E3, thanks to you, Mr. Masson.
Sure.
And honestly, that time when I played it, not a good build. I think a lot of people were talking about at the time, like very choppy, very grainy. They polished the crap out of that game, because I played the first couple hours of it with Bobby this week, and I want this game. This game, it was so much fun. I was having an absolute blast with it, and it reminded me of the first couple of games, and the guys from Quest for Pixels and I have been playing a little bit of Diablo 3 lately. So that gameplay loop I'm all about that. So I might be looking for it on Black Friday, because we're only a couple weeks away before I really maybe buy it. But I totally just skipped out on it because I didn't think that they were gonna fix it up that nicely after what I played at E3. But it looked really good, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Nice. And where are you playing Diablo 3?
We're on Xbox, but I might be double dipping over on Switch as well, man. I don't know.
I have got it on the Switch as well, and this, I'm going to be honest with you, is a game that I have downloaded because I actually got it from our good friend Barry Dunn, who had a spare copy and a code, and I got it from him for cheap. But I have not actually played it yet. I downloaded it, and it's been sitting on my Switch.
It's so good.
But I've got to jump into that as well. But yeah, Marvel's Ultimate Alliance is fantastic. So
can I quickly shout out Barry Dunn? Barry Dunn is an amazing friend, and he sent me a code for Yooka-Laylee, and The Impossible Lair is one of the best games this year.
Oh,
and
100%.
I actually scoffed at it when Ryan and I on the Xbox Drive were going through upcoming releases, and he's like, Yooka-Laylee has a new game. I'm like, okay. And then Barry reaches out to me, sends me this code, and my God, I have been so surprised. I found all the bees. I still can't beat The Impossible Lair. It is truly impossible, but it stands up as probably one of the best redemption stories in a franchise ever, where the first game is just not very good at all, in my opinion. And this game, I think, holds up in a lot of people's opinion. Certainly mine is highly recommended. Yeah,
I think you and I were actually both saying that this may be in my top 5 game of the year contenders.
Man.
I think is absolutely fantastic. So
yeah, and thanks to Barry Dunn for that, man. He's a wonderful friend to a lot of us, for sure.
Absolutely is. Cool.
I was gonna say real quick on that Diablo 3. It's supposed to be $25 Black Friday.
I'm in.
So,
That's it,
So
really?
you gotta watch out for
It's
it.
only $60 Canadian. Holy cow! I can't afford not to buy it.
There you go. Nice. All right. Thank you. Anything else, Sean?
No, man. What have you been playing?
I just want to check what time is it. I just want to make sure. Yeah, okay, we're fine. I just want to check that. Okay, I'm not breaking embargo. Awesome. So I've been playing new Super Lucky's Tale for the Nintendo Switch, which came out literally the embargo just released a couple minutes ago. So I wanted to make sure that we were fine on that. Man, I never played Super Lucky's Tale before this. I had seen it at shows, and I thought, man, that looks like a game that should be on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
And I have absolutely been loving it. It is like a comfort food. And obviously it has like this kind of like kiddie wrapper around it. But man, there is so much there that is challenging and enjoyable. It has moments and flashes and makes me reminds me of like the first times you play Super Mario 64. Right, has some of that 3D world kind of design and that kind of like awe, and then all of a sudden the next level, it's a 2D platformer that's as tough as nails, like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and then a moment later, it's an endless runner where you're trying to beat a time. Like there's so much depth to it, and it's a ton of fun. It controls really well. It's not too it's challenging enough for veteran players like ourselves who go through every level to collect everything. You know, we can go back and redo levels, so there's some depth there. But if your kids just want to play it, it's got lots of checkpoints, lots of hearts. Man, I have absolutely loved my time with this. And the interesting part is that if you played Super Lucky's Tale on the Xbox, the team is actually, this is not just a port. They have literally redesigned it from the ground up for the Switch. So there are new levels, new designs, cleaner interfaces. Like they've taken the care to really, really polish this game up. I know a lot of people were questioning why
you do it.
Yeah, a lot of people were questioning like, oh, well, the embargo is literally the day it releases. That's never a good sign. I am loving Super Lucky's Tale.
Nice.
Holy cow, am I so happy for it. And if you're looking for a good kids game or a good family game, it's not 2-player, but it's the kind of like pass the controller on the couch, or hey dad, do you want to play together? Cool. Oh dad, I'm stuck. Can you help me? Dad, I can't reach that thing. How do you do it? Sure, pass me the controller, give me a couple moments. Boom, I've got it. Man, it's such a great game that way, and I would highly, highly recommend it. We're gonna be releasing on our YouTube channel. I did a preview for this video, or preview for this game, so I'm gonna release that video. Plus, we have a Let's Play of it as well. So look for a lot of Super Lucky's Tale for us in the next 24 hours to make sure that you guys have that.
Who's the developer on this one again?
That is Playful Games. Playful. Yeah, wow, just absolutely fantastic. So
that's amazing. And just from what you said about the Playful taking the time to build this game specifically for the Switch, is something other companies, EA, excuse me, should think of doing. You know.
Yeah, I put it in our Discord because some people were asking about it. I just want to quickly read the statement they have here. Super Lucky Tales, most expansive. It is a complete reimagining of the original Super Lucky's Tale, rebuilt for the Nintendo Switch ground up. The main improvements are significant redesigns of most of the game's level designs, environments, layouts, puzzles, secrets, quests, creatures, and mini games. New and upgraded moves from the slide and the burrow, as well as more expansive controls, full rotatable camera and freedom of exploration, expanded level progression system, new story cinematics and characters and dialogue, numerous improvements to UI, character art, lighting, and sound. Like, yeah, it was not a drag and drop. This is what I would almost call Super Lucky's Tales Definitive Edition, which is fantastic. So
it was a similar story with Ori as well. I think you guys talked about it as well, where it actually runs better on the Switch than on Xbox. How does that even happen?
Exactly, right. So it's kind of nice that some of these games are a couple years later, but it feels like we as Switch fans are really benefiting from that wait as well.
Yeah, further optimization always helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, I want to be really cautious of it because, Sean, you've got a flight tomorrow, and it is this is already a 2-hour podcast. And Marty's yawning, and he's got a lot more time for Extra Life that he has to lean into this thing. So I think, folks, we're gonna end the show here tonight. But before we go, I want to throw it over to Sean. Sean, give us a plug, right? Obviously, great having you here. I'm sorry it's a late show for you. We are so happy that you're able to join us. You're such a good friend of our show and the network, and we're just so appreciative of you as well. But please, if anyone doesn't know who you are, doesn't know where to go, and doesn't know your work, where should they go?
Well, I don't want to jump right into that. If I can just thank you guys so much for having me on. I've been a fan for many, many years and got to visit when Zach was on a couple of shows ago and just had a rekindled love with the show and a rekindled appreciation for Nintendo Dads and the community that you guys have built and the dedication to the show and your love for Nintendo and your respect for the business and your responsibility to it all. As a peer in the podcasting field, I certainly look up to you guys in a lot of ways. I always have, and you've given me a lot over the years, and I don't know that I can ever pay it back or fully even express my gratitude for what you guys have done for me and a lot of the people that I know in podcasts with. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything you've done and for allowing me to join you on this show. It's a true honor. Not everybody gets to do this. So thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you.
If you'd like, you can find me on the internet on Twitter at Sean Capri. It's Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. One of the things that I'm really excited about to share is If You're at Nintendo, the show that Justin is very much responsible for. And we didn't realize we were completely ripping off episode 11. Bobby and I, because I was visiting New Jersey this week, Bobby and I visited and we recorded a brand new video intro for If You're at Nintendo in the style of like an 80s sitcom. And
So
you
awesome.
can see that on the If You're at Nintendo Twitter. It's also on youtube.com/Nintendo Guru. And I just want to point out, if anybody is curious, like where we got the ideas from, go check out Who's the Boss and Family Matters. And almost every shot is taken from one of those two things. And so Bobby and I had a great time. Oh, it's
It
so,
is-
and we have a
oh,
new
it's so
theme
good.
song thanks to Chris
'Cause
O'Brien.
that's like my childhood right there.
Man, we had so much fun filming it. It's so Bobby came home from work. I had it all ironed out. I had the Justin Masson blueprint ready.
Nice.
Like, okay, we do
That
this
boy.
shot and then this shot and then this shot. I did my homework, and it was so much fun. So if you want a slightly different take on a Nintendo podcast, and if you've ever found yourself in that frustrated, like, oh, if only they did it this way, which I think we all do. That's what If You're at Nintendo is about, and it was born out of the Wii U era when everything sucked, and we could have fixed everything if we just had our way. But it's a great show that I love doing with Bobby. So that's a natural carryover. And then the Xbox Drive is a show that I record from my car. I put my laptop in the passenger seat. Like this is pretty much the setup, so I can take the show on the road if I like. And that happens every Thursday. You can follow it on iTunes and Google or whatever, Spotify. So.
And I will say, if you're a person who's like, well, I just enjoy my Nintendo stuff. I don't want to hear about this Xbox stuff. I would encourage you as maybe students of the industry, right? As students of video games, or people who are passionate, love it. Do check out the Xbox Drive. I do not own an Xbox, but I absolutely love the conversation and the intelligence that Sean, as a kind of a professional and as passionate advocate and a fan, and as I think becoming more and more, I don't know what journalist, I don't know what the word is I'm going to use there, is him and Ryan have amazing conversations about it, and I think it's fantastic stuff. And I'm even in my car yelling at them about Xbox stuff that I know nothing about.
I know.
So I would highly encourage it.
Yeah, the idea is that it fits in my commute because I record it on the way to work or sometimes on the way home from work. So it's about a 40-minute show. So hopefully it fits into your commute. And then Tim was just reminding me of the GamerCast. This is the third show that I do.
Yeah.
That I don't want to spoil who the next guests are, but fans of this show potentially could be very interested in the next episode of the GamerCast. But recently had Lee Navarro, who hosted Extra Life. So if you want to know a little bit more about the Extra Life campaign that we just ran, you can have the lead up to that with Lee. And then Donnie Reese, also a fan of the show, is previously to that. But I want to draw people's attention to, I don't know if you guys ever discuss Benji Sales or follow Benji Sales on Twitter. He has a lot of inside knowledge into the sales trajectories, and he has access to a lot of insider knowledge and data. He was a fascinating conversation, totally different, where the GamerCast has a lot of either gamers like us or podcasters, and then Benji came on and just completely blew my mind. So if you're wanting to know a little bit more about kind of how sales go and what analysis are looking at, that was a great conversation on the GamerCast as well.
That was an awesome episode.
That
I
sounds
like
like
Tim.
an episode for business, Justin.
Yeah,
Yes.
I believe actually the suggestion was that we bring him on to Nintendo Dads, and I
Definitely.
think we're gonna try
Definitely get him.
and make some connections to bring him on as well.
He's
And
a
Tim
great guy.
brought that one up. Tim's like,
Mhm.
Tim sends me a DM. He's like, get this, do this. And I was like,
He's
all right,
so good.
Tim. That's great. All right. Well, again, Sean, thank you for your time and safe travel, safe home to you, sir. Rick, welcome back to the Great White North, and we're happy to have you back.
Thank you, Justin Moosen.
You're welcome, sir. Again, if you want to submit those Justin Moosen drawings, nintendodads@gmail.com. Before Marty, I'm going to throw it to you because I think you need to tell us where we need to go, how we need to support you, and then take yourself off mute and get there.
Yeah. So right after this show, I'm going to take about a 15-minute break, grab a cup of coffee, and then we're going to hop back on to stream. We're going to be leading into the wee morning hours with some Mega Man and Overwatch and other twitchy games to keep me awake. And then at 8 Central time-ish, around that time, Isaac's going to take over for a couple of hours with Minecraft and leading into the afternoon of family games. Right now, we're sitting at $830 out of a $2,000 goal. And so you can find all the links that you need to find on our Twitter at Nintendo Dads or at mine at Marty Estes. And you can just go donate over at extra-life.org/participant/Marty Estes and help us reach that goal. And we're going to have a lot of fun. Hopefully I'm not going to fall asleep. But we stay up and do all this for the kids. And so this stream will end when we get done, and we will resume on Twitch, YouTube, my personal Facebook, and my personal Twitter. And I think it's on our Twitter as well. So just lots of places where it'll be. You can go, and it's not hard to find if you want to watch it streaming live, which I would love for you to do, interact with it. And then at 2 p.m. tomorrow, Jody's going to kick my tail at Dr. Mario, and it's going to be awesome.
Hashtag real talk. Hashtag true story.
Yeah, and so
what time zone? 2 Central?
2 Central, 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time Zone. The only time zone that matters.
That's right.
What? You cut out for the whole section of that.
Marty, your internet, my friend. We're just saying that Mountain Time Zone is the only true time zone that matters.
See, I said the exact same thing about Central.
It's Central Time.
Yeah.
And so we've crossed the $750 threshold, which is the threshold to give away a 3-month Nintendo Switch Online subscription. If we cross the $1,000, that will be the Flip Grip. At $1,250, it's $20 eShop credit. At $1,500, I have to stream Diddy Kong Racing. Yeah. At $1,750, it's a Satisfy Grip plus case combo, either for Nintendo Switch or Switch Lite. And then at $2,000, my kids both get to pie me live on stream.
And I believe we said collectively there was this conversation about, like, if we hit over 2,000, I was doing Ring Fit Adventures shirtless. Yes. I just need to verify right now that probably won't happen, but I will definitely do Ring Fit Adventures with a tight shirt, but we're not going shirtless.
Well, just throwing
unless
this out
I pour maple syrup all over it, then it's going to be.
Just throwing this out here that we just got a $70 donation, so that we're now officially at $900.
Amazing.
So you're gonna miss the shirtless for the podcast.
Yeah.
But your time's.
Oh, it's gonna come, folks. I may have to get ready to get
Maple
waxed.
syrup workout time is coming.
Exactly.
But anyway, that's all going on tomorrow, and you can find that all over. You can even just go to Extra Life and search for our team or whatever. And so I'm blown away and humbled by this every year that people will watch and donate, and it means a lot to me that because my daughter was in one of these hospitals when she was 2 months old.
And then you're wrapping her up around 6 Central?
6 p.m. Central, and then you will take over with Jackbox.
Okay, is anyone doing anything after me, or is that when I'm done, then that wraps it up?
You're done, and then Nick is taking over on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I don't know if doing that over Restream will work well because it adds lag. I may have to go with Twitch only or YouTube only.
Yeah. Well, I would just say put it out there on the Twitter and let people know. Right. And speaking of winners, I want to mention this here. October 2019, our Patreon winner of the month is Hot Rodimus 83. Jason, you have won a $25 eShop card from the Nintendo Dads.
Woohoo.
And so we will be getting in contact with you. I handle that. So as soon as I rest up tomorrow, and I'm like literally last year, I went home and passed out. And so I'm going to do the same thing, and I will get with you this weekend about how, how that's going to go. And also, Monthly Mayhem is going on right now, and over there on Core, Drew and Zablanc are doing a great job organizing that. This month's game is Luigi's Mansion 3, and you can go over and check out the challenges for it and enter to win either a $10 eShop card or $15 grand prize for the month as well. And that's just ways that we give back to you guys because you're so awesome as far as being patrons of the show.
Great. All right. Excellent.
Yep.
Well, folks, let's close out here. Big thanks to our executive Patreon producers, Chris Mears, Dave Ernsberg, Andrew Collette, and our newest one, Sean Abbott, who has moved in that position as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your continued support at that executive Patreon producer. And of course, thank you so much to every single one of our almost 95 Patreon supporters that help us every single month to keep this ad free so that I don't have to shovel Third Love bras or Manscaped. Well, we might eventually as well. Who knows what happens here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are interested, head over to nintendodads.org, which is our new website. Of course, subscribe to us on YouTube, Twitch, subscribe to us on Twitter, Facebook, all those good things, all the social media, Instagram as well. And of course, if you want to support us, head over to patreon.com/NintendoDads for all of that goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. Thank you very much. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or call us at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Thank you so much to OC Remix for all the music you've heard through the show. A big thanks to Adam Leonard and Carter Johnson for their amazing artwork. And of course, big thank you to you amazing, sexy, sexy listeners. We appreciate you for everything you do. And of course, thank you, Sean Capri, for joining us. Safe travels home. And have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Maple syrup mooses.